How's everyone doing? It's Grant with the Garden of Eden, and this is the bedroom. This is where Shelby originally drew the line and said, no, we're not going to have any tanks in here. However, spring cleaning, we moved some stuff around, and I go, we got all this room right over here where this rack is that I think we'd have, plenty space still left if we put it in a little rack right there. And she agreed and sent me to Home Depot with a $75 budget. And just so hold that day, Home Depot had a sale on these 72-inch racks. They're Husky racks, if anybody's wondering. They're like a Black Friday sale at Home Depot, $75. I came home, told her I got a nice rack, $75, set the whole thing up, got it in place, and she is like, what? I thought you only spent $75. And I did. I showed her the receipt and convinced her that we could get rid of the TV stand and get another rack in here as well. And after it's all said and done, it's well worth it. She's happy. As long as the TV's in view, we can watch some Netflix at night. That's all that matters. We'll start it off with her tank, right? Her nice little nano. We got some black rose shrimp in there. Lots of little plants. I think all of them are right here eating. And then next to it, we've got my nano with some green emeralds. It's crazy how this started out as a cull tank. There's a couple culls, but there's a lot of nice shrimp in here. And then we've got one of my nice project tanks. These are yellow King Kongs, and none of them really show the nice backline except for this guy. I'll play with the light setting a little bit. You can kind of see those white stripes going down his back. That's my stud male. Hopefully he'll pass on the genes to these guys right here. You can see one of those juveniles has some, and just like most shrimp, the pigment will, as they age, deepen and grow thicker, and a lot of the pigments will grow together and form a lot thicker colors and stuff like that. So as they grow, expect more backlines and stuff and stripes with these shrimp. And there's a nice juvenile right there too. So hopefully as they age, we'll get some nice ones out of this group, and then I'll cull and move on. This is only second generation born right there. And we've got our cull tank for Aurora Blue Tigers. We've got our blue steels from our Aurora tie project. I've got so many different blue steels from so many different crossings that they throw different patterns and stuff like that. So I've been trying to just separate them and keep them all by themselves and pure to see if maybe they'll throw different styles of crazy blues and whatnot as they age. I definitely have some different lines of crazy blue steels and stuff like that. So this is how I've done it, by just starting with different starting crosses. So instead of the Tangerine Tiger like a lot of people do, I used Aurora Blues with these. We've got an empty tank. This whole row is fresh tanks. These are some of the newer tanks I've set up in the house. If you've watched our old tour of the house, a lot of these tanks were way different. This whole row right here was all small aqua top rimless tanks that I mainly used to take photos. But now I've moved 10 gallons in here to make it more efficient and get more shrimp in here. We've got our black Calcios, and then we've got a nice blue dragon's blood baby in there. The first batch of babies out of these guys. The tank is just really overgrown with hair algae, as it happens with a lot of these fresh new tanks that just take time to mature before the bacteria bioload can keep up with the tank, and the algae will kind of disperse on its own as the tank matures. And we've got our red Calcios. These ones are mine. Shelby's got her own. I've got a black one in there as well. And we've got some pure red lines. I just got these not that long ago. This is not my line that I've been working on, but I think I got a bunch of studs, bunch of males. And we'll go down. We've got some red tank tie. I've just been selecting nothing but red tank tie out of these guys for about 8 generations now. I get a lot of red steels, but I do get a lot of these nice red tie bee looking shrimp as well. And we've got some black Galaxies. This is like my second nicest tank. We've got the bacteria bloom on the pure white lines. A nice little glow through the mist, through the fog. But just, it happens with these new tanks more than the old. But it'll go away on its own, like I talked about in other videos. And we've got the creme de la creme here. Everybody always asks, what's our most expensive shrimp? Yeah, that's probably it right there. We got some boas in here. Some really nice snowflake Galaxies, and even some blue steels that I need to cull. I just got a lot of these shrimp, a lot of my pintos mainly, from Daryl at DET Aquariums. He recently just got out of the hobby, and I purchased his entire shrimp collection. And I was really in it for the Taiwan Bees because he has really nice pure Taiwan Bee lines. But man, these guys sure made it worth it. When I got them home and I saw that one right there, whew, I was so happy to see these guys. And even look at that one. We got some red coming through the black, some magenta, maroon colors. Nice deep dark red. I will be culling these guys very, very soon. I'll probably put these blue steels into their own tank as well. But that's the Galaxy Boa tank. And we've got some mixed red head spot pintos, red belly pintos. Not many zebras in here, but lots bellies and spot heads. Pretty much the same for this tank, as well as that tank. He just had so many of these. These also came from Daryl that I decided to split them up amongst these 3 10-gallons. We'll move on to the other rack. We've got some Tangerine Tigers in here. I just threw these guys in. This tank is very, very old, and I've always just done many scapes and different things in this tank, and I decided to retire it, and that's why Shelby's got the background on it and stuff from hers, and I decided to retire it and just throw some Tangerine Tigers in there until we redo these racks. And we've got from Daryl his spot head pintos. These guys are really nice. Lots of little babies already from these guys. Almost all the shrimp that I got from Daryl, I've got babies except for some red bolts. However, I think I saw babies in the tank the other day. Red steel. And we've got our award-winning first place super crystals. Santas and one stripes only in here. Santa hats. Sorry, there's no such thing as Santa crystals, just Santa hats. And then that guy right there would not be considered a Santa hat. He's a one stripe. If there's any white on the body, they cannot be a Santa hat. That's a nice Santa hat right there, though. Pedigree line. And then we've got my homemade Nanashis. If you've seen the other tanks where I've been breeding the Tang Tai in 8 different generations, and I've got 4 different phenotypes that I ran with the lines, this is the final one of the 4 groups where I went with an Anashi instead of Galaxy, Pinto, and Steels in the other ones. They're all hiding. But these guys will even throw some purples and some greens. So they're a lot of fun. We've got back to some shrimp from Daryl. We've got some black pinto mix, some zebras, some bellies, some spot head pintos in there. A lot of little blues in there, but these guys will all color up. As juveniles, they'll look blue, and then as they age and mature, I've even had them blue for first 2 batches of babies, and then 3rd batch came around and she darkened up and turned just as black as any of the other shrimp you see. So don't get your hopes up if they're green or blue. They almost always mature and turn black in the end, eventually. And more spot head pintos and zebra pintos, belly pintos, just a mix. Not as many as the reds, but he had a lot of these, so I split these up into 2 tanks. And we've got some blue bolts. There's pretty one in the back. The nice ones are always hiding. And we've got these spot head pintos are from Steve Ramirez, sadly, who just got out of the hobby. But I haven't culled or worked on these at all. This is just the first 2 or 3 batches of babies I got off of 2 or 3 of the females. And then these are the Galaxy pintos that I was working on before I got some from Daryl. I think these actually came from Steve as well. This is the secondary tank. And then here's some mixed Caridina, some Missouri Taiwan Bees, and some Steels. And I've got, these are the only Steels I have that are from somebody else. These are from Rico Nico, my buddy over in France. And I just get so unlucky. Every time I get a batch of babies from these, almost all of them end up being male. And I get one female that keeps continuing the line. We've got our raccoons. This is our secondary tank. The main tank is on top of the refrigerator. We've got some aquachar in there. My hand smudges from holding the phone steady. And then we've got an empty tank that's cycled, ready to go. I will be moving those Galaxy culls into that after the next water change. This was my first tank for the Galaxy pintos that I was breeding before I got those from Daryl's. But they took the food to the back. I actually had a really nice one with some really nice face pattern and a nice purple one in the mix, but they're gonna have to come out another day, I guess. And then these are my Taiwan Bees. I've been breeding these guys for 4 or 5 years now, but they just breed so slow, so I was really happy to get Daryl's so I can start more tanks up, keep them in stock more often. And we've got our Paracaridina. These are our super princess bees. Now, most of them will be white and black like you see here. However, we had a mutation, and it kind of looks like a blue steel, but not really if you look at it more closely. But we had a mutation, and we only got 4 shrimp that show this mutation. She looks like she might have a saddle, so I'm hoping that she will be able to reproduce the mutation. There's a nicer one over here. It's staying nice and calm so we can get some light adjustment. But definitely a cool mutation. Not really sure if it's my first mutation or not, but it is definitely one of the coolest shrimp that I've had pop out. So hopefully those reproduce. But right now there's only 4 of them that I know of. I haven't seen any Paracaridina that look like that. And there's no cross. You can see that this tank right here is nothing but really nice Taiwan Bees. I don't even get blue bolts out of this tank. And then this tank right here are culls from the Fancy Tigers. And there's no blues or blue steels, so there's no way that they jumped ship. And there were all 4 of them babies at the same size. The way I do my water changes, there's just no way that those 4 made it into this tank and not any other tank, so it has to be a mutation. And back to the Fancy Tiger culls. We've got some red wines, some pandas. This tank's really overgrown. It's due for a trim. We've got our super crystal blacks. Tank is also way overgrown. Needs a trim. And then we have our main tank of Aurora Blue Tigers. Look at this shrimp. Took the whole piece of food, carried it up the sponge filter, all for himself. What a jerk. It's probably delicious. The pure Nordic. It's worth it. All this is the pure Nordic herbs today. And we've got, these are the black Galaxy Pintos that I've culled from my red Galaxy tank out in the hallway. Took the food also. These are all very new tanks. I just recently set this whole rack up and stocked these with shrimp. The next 4 tanks all come from Andrew Wayne. These are some Thai bees I won in an auction. Off band. These are his red steels, and I think Andrew Wayne has some of the nicest red steels out there, so I had to get my hands on those genetics. Not all of them will be stunners, but that one will probably grow up to be really nice, and I'll breed those right off the rip. As soon as I can tell what it's going to be male or female, I'll separate those and break those apart. And we've got our red Sarita. I can't read, but we got a nice saddle there, so hopefully these guys will take off for us. Just got these brand new species for us, so hopefully they get breeding. We got 2 saddles, maybe 3. Second problem with tall tanks, you gotta have the ladder and step stool handy. And we've got, he's got his own green tigers, but he used Tangerine Tigers in his cross, so he calls his green apples. But I might move these guys to black substrate. It seems like all the Sarita, even the Aurora Blue Tigers, the culls just look even worse on this brown substrate. So I'm thinking kind of like Neocaridina, where they'll camouflage a little bit. You want to put these on darker substrate. And then we've got some very fancy orange eye shrimp. One not orange eye, but these are all from my buddy Ray Haas. Shout out Ray. He's definitely leading the USA development on orange-eyed shrimp, so I had to get some of those genes in there. This one is almost kind of holding on to being green. Maybe some days he's looking kind of green, some days he'll look really deep blue. Not as deep as that blue one, but still real nice. So really hoping to throw in some genetics with this line to some of my other orange eye projects I got going on. And then the only last thing in the room, we've got Shelby's isopod projects. She's only like a month and a half into the hobby and she's already got 16 tubs going, so she's killing it though. She's got like 5 or 6 tubs with babies already, if not more. So that's it for the room. Thanks for watching. Please drop a like and comment below and subscribe for future content.